Yo.
How are you, boy?
I'm good, thank you, brother. You?
Long time. How are you?
I'm all good. What are you doing?
So we've got numerous people watching you, mate. I've told everybody about the story. So if you don't mind, I'll put some questions to you. They're going to put some questions to you about different things. So before we kickstart, I'm just going to introduce you. So this is a very close friend of mine, Rory Pittman. Rory was a professional rugby player at the highest level. He made his debut. Hey, mate, you're going to be impressed with it. Are you listening?
I'm listening.
He made his debut for the Scarlets, scoring 2 tries, getting man of the match against Ulster. And in that season, he made 26 appearances out of 38 possible games. How good's that, boy? 2014, you had a hell of a season at Wasps. Back to Llanelli. You've also played in New Zealand for Taranaki. And you were the star of the Under-21 World Cup.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, but I don't know about that.
This is all on the internet, boy. This is all on the internet.
I've had a few clubs.
So, Rory, obviously, knowing you as well as I do, we've been away and travelled together. So, one thing I did want to bring in is how you recovered and how you mentally dealt with some of the big injuries that you've had.
Yeah.
But obviously, last year you came out, something as a close friend I didn't even know, with like the mental health issues that you suffered within the sport.
Yeah.
So if you can just give us a bit of a background on that, bud, and then we'll fire some questions at you.
Well, how do I put it? Basically, obviously, through my career, there'd been different things, getting injured, attitude problems, behavioural problems, everything else. And I think a lot of it stemmed from me not feeling right about things. So wherever I went, like I loved my time at Wasps, Scarlets, Glasgow, all these places, but it didn't seem to fit right with me. So for me, it just took a while to kind of settle into it. And when I did settle in, like Scarlets, like you said, started playing well, thing. When I done all that, I still felt empty. So, it didn't matter how good you were playing, what you were scoring, how much money you were earning. There was still like an emptiness. But I think that's because I had a lot going on in my head and a lot going on in my heart and my soul. So I'm a big believer in that. And I think it's easy to say, got mental health problems or I need, but a lot of it is just down to, being true to yourself and realizing that there is things wrong and you need to address these things, So, for me, I lost a great opportunity and at Scarlets, like I say, was on the fringes with Wales and stuff like that, with the training and everything, and it went away simply because injury, and then when I did get injured, instead of like a lot of players, like another friend of yours, Haskell and people like that, instead of getting my head down and focusing on coming back and everything else, I just kind of, went into myself, would find myself being, quiet, distancing for myself from everyone. And that's no good then, because other people see that and they don't want you in that environment, which I totally understand now, looking back at it.
I mean, I've got to be honest with you, it was a huge shock to me, as a player, how much I looked up to you. I'd travel 4.5 hours to watch you play.
No, you have, and I respect that.
But I was in awe of you, your physical ability, the guy that you are off the pitch as well. And then when you came out with that you struggled with it, I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, not Rory, no, no way.
Yeah.
So how much of the struggle was dealing with what was going on, and how much of the struggle was hiding what was going on?
Well, I think hiding is the worst thing, because believe me, you get to the end of the day and you're absolutely drained. You don't speak to people about it. You don't show anyone you've got it. And then you've got vices then where, so a lot of people drink, a lot of people take drugs, everything else. But for me, I do stupid things. I was gambling. I was out on the piss a lot as well, and doing all these different things. So I think it's recognising your own destructive behaviour, and maybe, if I knew what I knew back then I would tell myself, you need to stop this, stop that, the drinking, the going out, the gambling, because it just made things 1,000 times worse. Yeah. So usually when you wake up and you feel a bit low and everything else, instead you wake up with a hangover and a couple of grand less in your pocket. Well, I mean, what good's that for anyone, So, but it's only when you start doing this dumb shit do you think to yourself, hang on a minute here now. Right, okay, well, I didn't have a great day yesterday. How can I approach today now? What things can I do that's going to have a positive impact on me today? It's not all about, you're never going to be able to change it overnight. But if you can do little things and get the little things right, get a good routine, eat well, a little bit of training and everything else, all these little things start coming into place. And then that's where I found myself, hang on a minute here now. It might be one more go on a merry-go-round for me. So that's when, the Jersey thing come up. So obviously that come up, started doing that, went out there. But again, I don't think I was ready for it, and that was the problem.
Every time I spoke to you, you were never yourself over there.
No, I wasn't ready for it. I had to go away from the family and everything I knew, and I just wasn't ready for it. I was living in a place where I didn't know anyone. And I'm quite a reserved person anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know me, I don't...
you are a very small circle.
Yeah, but it was difficult because then you're on your own, and then then the little things are coming back. So on a Saturday after a game, it's like, I'm going to have a few beers here. Then a few beers turns into
a
lot of beer. Then you do dumb shit, do you know what I mean? And then it just all escalates. So, no, I'm glad I did that. But at the same time, I think I went a little bit too early, because it just proves I've gone to Doncaster. I've had a wonderful time.
You're flying as well up there, aren't you?
Yeah, they've been a great club, and it's they have wonderful staff facilities and everything else, and they really are a good club. So enjoyed it there thoroughly, and I think it's proved in my rugby again. So
I've just been watching your highlight reels this afternoon. You've certainly back carrying how I've always known you to carry.
Yeah. So no, I'm enjoying it, but I see people saying here, didn't you see Kel?
Yeah, I'm going to get to these questions in a minute. So right. there's one further up. One person jumped in earlier. What was the trigger that made you realise there was a issue?
I think when it got to the part that, I would dread going to training, and I've been in a full stadium playing against some of the biggest teams in Europe, and as an 8, sometimes you cover it in the backfield or whatever, and my head would be playing tricks on me. Sometimes, honestly, I would see, instead of a ball coming down, I would see honestly look like a kettlebell or something like that. It's just like,
really?
Yeah, mate, but just, and I knew that sometimes I was like, I was thinking in my head, this is going to happen to you, or this is going to happen to you, or before a game, I'd be playing with myself, so I'd be like, you don't need to eat that. But I hadn't eaten enough, so it was all playing in my mind. So sometimes before a game, then I wouldn't really eat much, and then that would affect my performance, and then I'd play shit, and then in the car on the way home...
You're feeling more depressed.
Yeah, bro. And then I'm pulling into McDonald's, having, 10 double cheeseburgers. So it doesn't make sense. But it's, it takes someone to say, to who you love and respect. And I'm lucky I had that, do you know what I mean? And people were there for me, because I do know a lot of people who haven't got that sport network, do you know what I mean?
And it's amazing since you came out, how many other rugby athletes have come out now. And, a good friend, I'm not going to name names, but another good friend of yours that you introduced me to, came out with the gambling. And
Yeah.
You know, it's rife that I think you almost started like a trend that took, you know, it's like I said, you're such a big character, you know, not just in stature but in life as well. You know, you're almost fucking, you know, you suck the best out of people when we've travelled, you know, abroad.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I think when people can see that somebody like you come out, it's like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. You know, there's no shame in it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I think it's like anything, right? Like we're all aspiring to do well in something, whether, you know, you work on, you're stacking shelves in Tesco, or, you know, yourself, you're shooting, or me, we're all aspiring to do something well. And I think when things ain't going right for us, you know, family, work, you know, down our luck a bit and everything else, we all do get down. But I think especially in sport, you when you've built your life around something, which I did, so since a kid, you know, I always wanted to aspire, like, you know, to play for Wales and be a rich guy and do these things. But then, you know, I never, you know, it's never going to work. You know, you can be the best player in the world, but when you've got destructive behaviour and you've got these things running through your mind, it's never going to work, you know?
Yeah.
So
there's a gentleman here, Rory, called Edward6233. He actually personally messaged me earlier. I have no idea who the guy is. He's just followed from my story.
Yeah.
He said that he's really suffering at the moment with anxiety and depression, and the lockdown's making it worse. And he wanted to have a chat with you himself.
Yeah.
He just said, is there anything you can advise me to do? Is there anything, like you said, about getting into a routine and things like that?
Routine is key, bro. Yeah, and you know me, even when we've gone away on trips and everything else, if I don't eat a nice breakfast in the morning, like eggs, salmon, bacon, whatever, just a nice breakfast, and get out, have a walk and have a coffee, I'm not right.
No,
so
you're miserable.
You need to set yourself up for the day. Don't go waking up late. Don't go going to bed late. Look, I'm not a doctor, but all these things will help, you know. So do what makes you happy. Watch something, you know, that gives you that feel-good factor before bed.
Yeah, no, I think, like I said, there's no scientific reason to this, but this is, you know, if I was going to get advice from somebody, I'd want it to be from somebody that's had it, not somebody that's read about it.
Yeah, so, you know, get a bed at a decent time. Honestly, it makes a world of difference, you know. And even if it's a walk, obviously there's restrictions and guidelines and stuff at the minute, but if you can get out for a walk, you know, just clear your head, come back, maybe have your breakfast, have your coffee, then you're already positive. You've already done that. It's in the bank. So whatever you do for the rest of the day doesn't really matter, because you're already, you know, on a positive note. You're already on that front step in the morning.
Because you're a big fan of music too, aren't you? You like your music for things.
Massive, and I think that's, for me, is the best thing. Is, you know, the songs that can take you back to somewhere. So I don't know, I love Van Morrison and stuff like that, and Black Sabbath, all these different things. But there's certain songs that I can listen to and I can go back to a place and think, do you know what? Hasn't been a great day, but right, tomorrow I'm going to do this. I'm going to change this. You know, I'm not going to have alcohol tomorrow. I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to do a bit of exercise. I might not run, but I might walk somewhere, you know? And all these little things. I think if you, like you see Tyson Fury's documentary, you know, how can one guy be so big, lose all that weight, you know, and then come back and be champion of the world? It's not by luck.
No, definitely not. Definitely
it's
not.
By
mindset.
All he's done is he's chipped away little bit, and I think that's all you guys can do.
I think what a lot of people don't realise as well with Tyson Fury is they remember him being ill and they remember him winning. They don't realise there was 3 years in the middle.
No, and if you see the size on him and everything else, do you mean I take my hat off to him. For someone to do that is literally, that guy should go down in history, because it's amazing. And the way he's inspiring people as well. And you know, just talking openly about things it really is amazing. So if I say anything, just get a little routine going, whether it's you know, music, food, exercise, anything. But just get your little routine going. You know, go to bed at a decent time, get up at a decent time, because then your mind is ready to go.
There's a couple of questions here for you, bud. Do you think that people just saw this big fucking indestructible rugby player when in fact your confidence might just be low, but they see what's on the outside?
Yeah, mate. Let me tell you now. Like I've always been the same in terms of I don't let anyone know if I'm you know, hurt, down.
That's why it chopped the arse out of me when you said it.
Don't let anyone know. But I've always like searched for praise, if that makes sense. Yeah. So whether it be from a coach or whatever. But I think with me, sometimes they've seen me as this, you know, because I'm a lump of a bloke, and everything else. I think they just think, you know, he's fine and everything else. But I tell you what, I'll never forget this, and I'll keep this for the rest of my life. I remember being on the side of a pitch, about to play for Scarlet, and Scott Quinnell come down, and he's on the side of the pitch and he's talking to me, and I just remember him, you know, just shaking my hand and saying, you know, come on now, Pitts, go it. And I just remember, you know, the uplift.
Yeah.
It was amazing for me because, you know, the two clubs I wanted to play for, Wasps and Scarlets, for Delalio and Quinnell.
And Quinnell, yeah.
Yeah. So that was just huge for me.
Because one of my biggest memories about you is what I messaged you about earlier. So, you know, I'm reading this article on Rory Pittman and how he's come out with mental health and this, that, and the other. And I went straight back to the Toulon game.
Yeah.
You know, for the people that are rugby fans on here, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The winger came off the 10, you high-tackled the winger, backies both have come straight out the scrum swinging, where most people back off, and you just flew in. You went straight back at it.
Yeah. Well, that was dumb. But at the same time, you know, it's look, we're proud people in Wales, and I think that's, you know, it's one of those things where you just you get up and you know you worry about it later, and you've been there yourself. No, that was an amazing game, and obviously it was a silly thing, but it didn't mean to do it and everything else. But again, I'll tell you this: before that Toulon game, I was eating a bar of Milka chocolate because I didn't have breakfast and because I'd slept in, and I was eating a bar of Milka chocolate before the game, and I still played well. But in my mind, in my mind, honestly, I had eaten a bar of Milka chocolate and a coffee, and that was my pre-match meal. So when I look back, I think, fuck me, Pitts, what could you have done if you would have gotten the right help earlier on?
Yeah.
You know, because it just, you know, all these things takes its toll on you.
A couple of comments here for you. How old are you now, Rory? Well done for turning it around. West is best. Keep driving forward, mate.
I'm 30. I don't look 30.
Anything you do now to get the demons out of your head? So this guy's trying to relate your performance in rugby to his performance in shooting. So if you're playing a game and you get a demon come into your head, how do you deal with it, and how could he deal with that? So when he comes to a shoot and he thinks, oh no, today's not the day, how can he spin it around?
I think back of all the good things I've done, whether it's training, whether it's, I've just gone and walked up the park and taken a few balls in me or whatever. I always remember that. So if I drop the ball, I always think, you don't drop two, because I've done this 1,000 times. So I've caught that ball over, thousands and thousands of times. That's not going to happen to me the next time. And then I think it's about focusing on all the little things you do to get to that moment. So next time, I'll be in position a little bit quicker, because then I haven't got to run so fast to cut onto the ball, you know? If I drop the pass or whatever, next time my hands are going to be in position earlier, and I know I just got to pull it across the body.
You take it back to the roots and the fundamentals.
You have to take it back to the fundamentals. and you remember who you are, and you remember I'm here for a reason because I'm good enough to be here.
Yeah,
and then
they picked you for a reason. Yeah.
Exactly, and it doesn't matter what competition you're in, whether you're in a local competition, whether you're playing at the elite level, everything else. You got to believe you deserve to be there, and when you believe you deserve to be there, then things will start falling into place for you.
If you have a tough, hard man exterior, it is much harder to make yourself vulnerable and ask for help. Is this how you felt?
I think for me I didn't want to let people down.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, when my group of friends and everything else, I always enjoy that. I was like the go-to person, and I didn't want them to look at me and be like, "Oh, he's he's weak," or he's full of shit. Or he's. I didn't want that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, my father is a very tough man.
Yes,
so
he is. Yeah.
It's not like I could go home and say, "Oh, Dad, I'm not feeling myself today," because he just say, slap on you. Well, get on.
And my dad would be exactly the same.
Exactly, because they don't understand.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have these outlets and everything else. And a lot of it is just pride as well. And I think, especially having a son, I look at Ruben, and then that's what really drives me on and spurs me on is, I want him to look at me, and I want him to be able to come to me with anything, whether he's got anything to say or he's ever got anything on his mind. I want him to be able to come to me and I can speak to him, and he can go away thinking, well, do you know what? My old man listened, and he's given me a few little bits of advice there, and he can take from it as he will. Just little positive things,
Because one thing I always used to ring you every Friday before a big game, and the first thing you'd always say to me was, "I've trained well or I've not trained well."
Yeah.
That's true. You would pretty much base your week on how you trained.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of people do that because preparation is everything. You can't expect to. You can't expect. Be eating shit on the way to a game and then getting the best of yourself. It all plays in here. So if I'd eaten well that week and I trained hard and things had flowed nicely for me, great.
Yeah.
Then I knew coming into Saturday, I know I'm flying.
There's a great question here for you, mate. In shooting, this is not, I'm going to read it. It's from a guy called Dave Hughes. It's not from me.
Yeah.
In shooting, there's only me. So a bad performance, there's only me to blame.
Yeah.
How did you handle a bad individual performance being in a team environment, especially if you lost?
I think, to be honest, I know this sounds selfish, but I always looked at myself anyway, in terms of being, I don't care what team I was in, I always looked at myself as, I need to do this, I'm going to get us here. And I've been doing that since I was a kid. So I was always hard on myself, even when I won those man of the matches and I scored them tries and did all this different shit, signed contracts for different people, everything else. When you've got different things going on, you're never going to feel good enough and you're never going to feel satisfied. But if you keep looking at yourself, but in a positive manner, so saying, do you know what? Yeah, I didn't shoot great today. What can I change? What can I do? What was my setup like? Did I have my right gear? Did I have my right goggles? I didn't have this. Like, okay, well, all these little things, see, I know it sounds stupid, but wearing the wrong shoes to the wrong goggles to the wrong hat, a little thing like that can affect someone in such a massive way.
This is one of the big reasons I wanted to bring you on as well, because sports science is just starting to creep into shooting.
Yeah.
And people don't realise that how badly just the little things that you've just said there can have such a high impact on performance. Like, fuck, I've never shot well in this jumper. And you don't think about it.
Yeah.
But
it's good news, bro. You know what I mean? If you been on the piss the night before shooting, you're dehydrated and everything else. Do you know what I mean? Your hands are going to get all clammy.
Yeah.
Your blood sugar levels, everything's all over the place. You can't concentrate. If you're hydrated, you had good food, whether your breakfast or your lunch or whatever. All these different things. It's going to help, and it's going to have a positive impact on your performance. Whether it's just 5%, 10%, it's going to help, and that is the absolute truth. Is you only get out what you put in, and that's why if you look at some of these guys who are a bit older now, say for instance, I see on Instagram, like Matt Gitto, Dan Carter, all these people, they're training harder now
than when they were playing.
When they were playing, because they know to keep up and to stay ahead and to still be that elite top person, they've got to do that. So, I'd say any little things you think you can change, especially because, like I say, it's a solo sport, like being a boxer, isn't it?
Yeah, you're on your own.
You're on your own. So you're in charge of your kit. You're in charge of your food, your drinks, and everything else. So you got to do what's right for you and what makes you tick. So when you do get to that point where you're going to shoot that trigger, you've left no stone unturned. So you know.
Great advice. Great advice. Have you been able to stay away from the drugs for mental health by working through your issues by yourself?
Didn't touch them. Never. Believe me,
that's a downward spiral.
Downward spiral. I spend tens of thousands of pounds of my own money looking for help and everything else. And there's people out there who can help you with all that stuff. There is going to be people with certain circumstances that do need it.
100%.
And
they're just not strong enough to get through it by themselves.
Not strong enough, but they've gone a little bit too far, and they need that help. So for them, please, do it and keep doing what you're doing and what works for you. But a lot of people think that's the quick fix. It's not. You need to look at everything else first, like you say, your nutrition, your lifestyle, everything else you got going on, and then make those changes first. And if that doesn't work, then you can go down that down our avenue. But it's the same with pain. When you're shooting, you can go in the car and chuck 2 paracetamol or cocodamol in your mouth, and it might stop your shoulder hurting. But if you went home and iced it properly,
you don't need to,
and compressed it, you wouldn't need to do that.
There's I knew we were going to end up this way, because I did tell people that you're, one thing I learned a lot from you, and also was the nutrition side of things.
Yeah.
Every time I came to your house for dinner, it was like eating in a fucking restaurant.
Yeah.
What advice would you give? So talk me through. So you've seen me, you know who I am, and I'm gonna use me because everybody knows who I am. So for a shooting day, I'm going to start at 10 o'clock and I'm going to be shooting for 3 hours. What should my evening meal be the night before and my breakfast that morning? What would you feed me?
Well, you just want to make sure the night before you got something substantial where you have your carbs, your protein, and good fats as well. And then when you wake up, something that's going to tide you over. So I like to have a bit of fruit first, or bit of fruit, maybe a little bit of yogurt to start. Then I'll have normally a 4 or 5 egg omelette, maybe some lean ham or bacon or salmon, whatever you've got. And not too much caffeine, because I think that's another mistake as well. Is like, I love coffee, you know that. I had a coffee business. So it's enjoy your coffee with your breakfast and everything else. But you have to realise that when you're trying to do something at 10 o'clock till 1 o'clock, if you have 3 cups of coffee at 9 o'clock, it's going to take you up and down. So I see you drinking them bloody cans of Monster all the time, and I've told you
never when I shoot. Never when I shoot.
No, I tell you many times, but it's. I think it's just about all people are different. So I know boys who get really nervous and they don't like to eat much, so they'll wake up at 6 or 6:30, pile the food in, and then that's them. Then they let that
cut it out.
Yeah, because some people get nervous with different things, don't they?
Another good question here. Indeed, talking more about your injuries.
Yeah.
How many times did you play when you shouldn't have?
Oh, I honestly, this is, I'm telling you, in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, right? Honestly, there'll be so many boys coming out with different things. Like the concussion thing is massive now, right?
Yeah.
But you haven't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, it's going to get worse.
You haven't seen nothing yet. I'd also, I tore my bicep and kept playing.
Well, we both did it, didn't we?
Yeah, I tore my pec, kept playing.
I remember that. I remember when you played with that torn pec. It was black.
And you're putting a sponge underneath your arm and trying to prop your arm up. I mean, like, what planet are we living in? But then again, when you're fighting for contracts and everything else, you have to do what you've got to do. But I played with syndesmosis, concussion, broken eye socket. So it's not good. I wouldn't advise it to any youngster out there.
No. I think people are interested to get your who's the toughest rugby player you ever encountered? I know you played. You know Jerry Collins well as well, didn't you?
Yeah, obviously that was a big part of my life. We were friendly, and we had some amazing days back in the day. I got loads of great players from the Pigeon area as well. We got Lee Byrne, Chris Webb, all these boys. They're lovely local boys, and they're great players. I think Nick Williams is probably the
horrible bloke.
Yeah. Do you know when it's like, like you say, you look at your dad when you're growing up. I think every little boy thinks this. You think, Jesus Christ, how's my dad so strong? Or how's...
Yeah.
And then you play, you go out there, and I'm like, fuck, I'm strong, I'm fast, I'm powerful. And then this guy comes on with a big smile, and he just starts whacking people over, So it's he is such he's a gentleman. He never talk shit to people or anything like that. He's just a very honest, tough player. He's very good.
Yeah. Edward again. Did you ever meet his all-time favourite, Johnny Wilkinson?
I think. Well, I don't know whether he's in that Toulon team or not. I can't remember.
I think he was. Yeah, because I think he passed to the winger that you took his head off.
Oh, I honestly can't. Do you know what? I think this is another problem as well. A lot of what I've done in the last probably few years is a blur, and that's one part of obviously not feeling yourself. I think it's when you look back, because I was trying to get through tough times. You don't remember, and I think that's one thing that
you miss.
I gutted about this. I wish I could remember some of those things, because instead of just picking my bag up after a game and trying to get out there as quick as I can, I sometimes look back and I just wish I had those times where I had a beer or I went to different things. That's one thing I'd say to anyone is,
enjoy each moment.
Enjoy it. Don't miss those opportunities, because I look back now and I can't remember after, because I was too busy, trying to hide from things that, you miss out on these things.
No, I think that's important, especially in shooting as well. That I think what you'll find with the shooting sport, Bud, is people concentrate on negative. Oh, I had a bad day, but you never hear anybody say I've had a good day.
No.
All you hear is, oh, I shot crap today. You never say. If somebody sat down to me and they said to me, "Hello, mate," I said, "How'd you get on?" You know what? I've had a brilliant day. I think, wow, this guy's got it. This guy's got it right.
You told me you had a lot of brilliant days. Every time I phone you, you're bloody laughing or you're smiling about something.
But I think if we could just bring positivity into it, that people. Hey, this is a great question. This one's for you. Have you ever had the red mist during a game?
Yeah. Yeah. I think everyone has had that. But I remember being in a few games, and this is the problem with a lot of people, is they think that they think that they're never going to get problems or they're never going to have any issues, because people would say to me after I'd like I come out with this like 4 or 5 years ago now. So when I did this article, on the pitch and for Jersey and stuff, I had boys coming up to me saying, oh, you're a psychopath, you're a weak cunt, you know these things. And I'd be like, I was like, right, okay. I was like, okay, let's see if you can tackle me then. So I was like,
no, because I think you just hit a huge nail on the head there. That some people that do not understand sport or the mental health issues see it as a weakness.
Yeah.
And I think it's a strength.
Yeah, it is. It is a strength because you actually know who you are and you know what makes you tick, and then you understand. Let me tell you, I'd say probably 80% of people don't even understand who they are properly.
Yeah.
And they've never been through adversity, lost someone, a family member lost a job, been in financial difficulty, all these different things. So when you actually get to the point where these things start to happen, you actually find out who you actually are. And I think that's what a lot of people need to remember. And the people who are going through this need to not forget is that you've been through worse and you're going to go through worse, but you'll always come out the other side.
But I think once you hit that place where you can be and find out who you are, you can perform better.
Yeah.
You can be a better competitor when, instead of spending all day batting things away, you can absorb them and you just concentrate on what's going on.
Yeah. No, exactly.
We talk about nutrition before a game or before a shoot. How important is after-match food for you as a player?
I think it is very important because, like you say, if I go away from the game and I've just been running into people for 80 minutes and then I go and stick, 5 to 10 beers in me and have a Chinese, I'm going to wake up feeling sluggish and everything else. I think if I have 2 beers and then, just like cut my order in half from a Chinese, then I think that's sufficient, and I think you've had your little treat, you've earned it, you deserve it, and I think that's the best way to go about things. So I think you need to look at, make sure you do have your treats and you do have your little things to make you happy, but in moderation as well. Don't go over the top, because honestly, sometimes I'd finish a game and I'd go to McDonald's, KFC, and then pick up something else on the way home. So,
I never forget one of our phone calls. You called me one evening, and I was busy and I didn't answer, and you messaged me and you said, "Please pick up."
Yeah.
Please. You said, "Please pick up," and you just literally pulled into a lay-by after a game, and you said you just kicked the car to bits.
Yeah, I think I've had a lot of times, do you know what I mean? And like I say, I've got a few close friends and everything else, and sometimes you need to rely on them, like you're saying, do you know what I mean? But if I hadn't done that, then I think, maybe I might have gone home and said the wrong thing, or I might have ended up flipping out then. So it's like, all these little things, like I say, like I've told you before, and about, is like, I did those to stop it getting to my
further
front
down
door.
the line.
Stop it getting to my front door, because I think, I didn't want obviously people to think I was weak or see me that way. But now, I don't let it, I don't like it to let it get to that point,
Yeah. No, I'm super proud of you. You know that. Look, dude, it's going to kick off in a minute, but I can't thank you enough for coming on and opening up, dude. I think it's major. If you don't mind, I'd like to bring you back on next week just purely to talk about nutrition and bits and bobs for the shooters. Just leave this sort of chat behind and come back on with nutrition and stuff if you don't mind. Yeah,
bro, that's fine. Like I say, I appreciate people, wanted to hear things and everything else, because there's so many good people out there who, this is a tough time for everybody. But like I say, if you can get the little things right now, focus on yourself. This is an amazing time to improve as well, mind. So,
let's cover that again. That's a major thing to say. Instead of being down in these next 3 weeks, you can use these 3 weeks to improve. That's a huge thing right there.
Yeah, massively. So whether you wanted to read a book, start a course, you wanted to improve your relationship, you wanted to whatever, it's an amazing chance to do that. Do you know what I mean? whether you're usually in work or you with your family now, like you're never going to get this opportunity again. Hopefully, and obviously the circumstances is not great, but just
turn it into a positive.
Turn it into a positive, guys, and whether that means you, like I say, you start eating better, you start doing a little bit more exercise, you start, you think, I've been drinking too much. I haven't been myself for the last couple of months right. I'm going to start afresh here, and I'm going to start putting little things in place to make me a better person, and like I see it now, and I see the change in people. He's a lovely boy on you now. Just seen Tom Morgan, Tom, yeah. Tom just had a baby. Seeing his baby photos come up on Instagram, what a guy. Do you know what I mean? He's, so that's his positive thing, and he's cherishing that. Yeah. So
there's one more question just popped up for you. A question for both of you. It's more for you because mine's a significant problem. Yeah. Did the fear of losing your place on a team make you take longer before you come out with a problem? If say you've got a career-ending injury, or would you have come out, or did that fear of not being picked hold you back?
Not really, no. I thought at the time I just needed to get it off my chest, and I think if I didn't do that, then I would have been in some serious shit, to be honest with you. So you win some, you lose some, and let me tell you now, if you back yourself and you believe in yourself and that, you can always come back from anything. So don't worry about, if you've had a bad day, bad week, bad year, whatever your circumstances, you can always come back from anything. So,
But when you drop your hair, you look like Sebastian Chabal. They was fucking clever.
I look like Chabal's had a 2 for Tuesday, and they were Thursday as well.
All right, dude, I'll WhatsApp you later on and we'll talk about getting you back on for a nutrition, man. But thank you very, very much for coming on, dude.
Hey, thanks, bro. See you later.
Take it easy,
cheers,
bro.
Bye.
Right, guys, we've got 2 minutes left. I'll call back in and I'll go over the quiz.